to shine, or show me what you can do. The way my
Good evening and welcome to Bruges, the host site of Tom's Tourney, one of the greatest festival tournaments in the world. And it is our pleasure to be bringing the action, streaming live on a Wednesday evening, a special showcase match, a replay of the World Championship semifinal in the under-24 division. This is a preview for these two teams going towards the under-24 division. Belgium's national team taking on the Italian national team, a clash of titans at this age bracket. And you're watching here on Live TV. I'm Stefan Rapazzo. It's my pleasure to be bringing you the action with Hannah Pendlebury. Hannah, what are you most excited for getting into this wonderful match here?
I'm just really excited to see how things are shaping up ahead of that championship later on this year in Spain. That'll be happening in June. Make sure you watch that one because, of course, Belgium and Italy, their last iterations of under-24 youth teams, came all the way to the semi-finals, and of course it was the Belgians that knocked the Italians out. That was a really exciting game, lots of big plays within it, and of course the Belgians going on to that final against the USA that was just... I mean, I've never thrown my notebook at the floor whilst commentating, Steph, until that game. Well, it had a little bit of everything. So there's been quite a high level of retention, certainly for Team Belgium. I think over 80% of the Red Dogs are returning for this iteration. So much youth talent coming out of Belgium. But looking at the banks of the Italians, they've got a much larger squad and certainly plenty of faces we're used to seeing winning at the highest level of the youth programs. I mean, that Padova team back in 2023, Steph, still gives me shivers.
Yeah. It's both of these nations have incredible youth programs, and this is the fruit of those programs. You look at the names on the back, as you said, so many. Couple players we can highlight, Hannah. You look across to the Belgian side. We'll start over there. Sorry, let's start over the Italian side here. Giovanni Saracco, the under-20 captain. He has done it all at such a young age. He's one of those players you mentioned from Padova. He's now stepped up onto the big stage in the club season, doing it for BFD La Fota. This is his third year for La Fota, getting better and better. A real competitor, loves to just throw everything at it. Got great wheels. His range of throws improves from year to year, and he's certainly one of many to watch on the Italian side. You go across to the Belgian side, Hannah, or you got more to say about this young fella here?
Only the one thing, Steph, is also he's excellent at choosing profile photos because he's managed to find one that features your good self for his ULTI.org profile.
Well, love to hear it. He came in for a lot of interviews. His English also exceptional, and that's why we got him in. Now let's have a look at the other side. Also a wealth of talent over there, but one that might stand out, Hannah.
Well, certainly someone that might have some North Americans tuning into our live stream, of course, has been making waves in the UFA over in the US of A. Toby DeCana, and you see a little sliver of Dan de Marais as well in the shot there alongside. But of course, now this season playing for Boston Glory, moving across from the Montreal Royals. But we'll talk about his European prowess. He's been coming up through Gentle's program for such a long time, alongside not one but two siblings on this U24 roster for the iteration that will be happening in Spain. Staff won't be cleating up for this game because he's carrying a bit of an injury. But yeah, the middle of the three brothers in age, really just committing so hard to the athletic programming. Such a dedicated athlete, and just, I think, like any self-funded athlete, it's quite challenging at times, but he is such a big playmaker. He really is someone that can just kind of take an eraser to his teammates' mistakes.
Yeah, and I think I heard it earlier in a bit of jest, but it rings true. Like, now that he can throw, and there was never a point where he could not throw, but now that he's got like a full range of throws, look out. Toba de Kran has got it all. He did it with the Tokai Super Team when I got to see him up close and personal. Now we're watching him on UFA. He makes the most jaw-dropping highlights. His ability to get up is second to none. His straight line speed, second to none. He excels in so many areas, and now there's none that really have any rust on them.
It's a really interesting kind of general vibe that comes out of Belgian Ultimate Seed. Really rounded players. Like, you think about the likes of, maybe some of the older guard now. PJ's a really good example of someone who's an absolute athletic powerhouse, but also is a full-bodied athlete. He can do you both ways, really just dynamic. And, seeing Toba now rising to that same level and really just pushing himself to see how far he'll go.
Well, we are just about set to kick things off. We'll see how far we might go indeed. It's 17 minutes after the hour here, so first pull should be coming our way. I don't see a disc in hand for either side right now.
And in terms of the format, we should just check in on that, because, of course, Tom's Tourney, if you've never had the pleasure of playing it, it's a very high-paced format. There are only 60-minute games, 1-hour time slot. And there's not much gap between the games once things get rolling tomorrow. So you're often seeing players literally like with their bags running between pitches to get to their next games. We have a similar vibe ourselves, trying to commentate all of them. But 60 minutes and points cap, Steph?
Points cap is to 15. One timeout per team, halftime at 8 or 30 minutes. We add a +1 at 30 minutes. And we're underway, and it is the Italians starting on defense. And Belgium go to Boumalal, their steady rock of a handler. De Kran, the aforementioned, gets a big gainer upfield. That one hits Oosterlink, and he kicks it on to Bontemps immediately. Sofiane Bontemps finds Boumalal in the middle, kicks out near sideline. Sent too high, but Toby de Kran is there. Surely not the intended receiver, but the bailout. De Ritter. Backhand and then leads Toba. De Kran looks, eyes upfield the whole way. De Ritter gives a cut. That one's good. Nice opening possession for the Belgians. Maybe one bailout amongst it, but otherwise sharp looking, Hannah.
I really enjoy, Steph, when you say something about a player and then they basically just do something that really proves you right. It doesn't happen all the time. We talk about commentators' curse, but that's exactly right. There was that little bit of an overthrow from someone who's got a couple of caps for the Belgian side, Stan van Eyck. That little bit overcooking, but just that heads-up play, spotting that one had gone awry, being able to read it, snaffle it up, and I really love that shot at the end as well. There are a few players who I think would see that closing channel as De Ritter started to get towards the line and really take that bladey one, but that, almost the hesitation, I think, had the defender think, oh yeah, I've covered that.
Yeah, it's more often than not we get those ones wrong, Hannah. We say something and they do the opposite. So love to see it when we get it right. And
it's okay, we've got big shoulders, Steph,
Yeah.
We can handle it.
For sure we can. Love seeing you guys, so many of you watching already. Make sure you hit that like button, become a subscriber.
Become a patron. You get exclusive access now. It's a new novel thing we're doing, giving you extra content from other fields at certain tournaments.
Under the lights here on the AstroTurf in Bruges. And the disc sent. And the Italians, Poltok kicks off the first possession. Fantini, takeaway right at the doorstep. What a layout to get that job done. Fired and hits. What a layout for the Belgians. Guillemot, the captain, sends himself flying, and the piece is picked up Betrancourt, the moon catcher, with the assist. Belgium coming out hot. Fantini there, first throw from the end zone, and had his pass blown up.
Wow, that was absolutely fantastic. That just inside channel reach and snatch and get that. I mean, that's just, and the little head tilt as well. The connections between this Belgian side is really fantastic. I think that's Courtois on the receiving end of it. But that little bit of sliver of channel, I mean, that's a trust throw right there. It really looked like that one was covered, but heck,
yeah,
what a way to make it quick.
A little over ambitious by Fantini for sure. First point, first touch in his end zone. I mean, it was a small window he was throwing to, and then got smaller very quick once Gerhard left his feet.
Well, Gerhard took a big leading role at the under-20s level back last season. He was the sole captain of that team. A lot of times in kind of the younger divisions, team managers and coaches like to have that shared responsibility, but hey, way to take responsibility on defense and get a very, very quick break. Belgians are showing their perhaps home soil advantage, Steph. Nice deep pull.
Here come the Italians trying to sort things out. Ooh, another low throw, but they get away with it. Moving it up to the midway. Casanelli. Another one, it's hard to believe he's under 24. There's so many of them out there that are so recognizable. Rossi sends deep. Poltok is there. Now on the doorstep, waiting for the troops. Nice lead, and there he is, Giovanni Saracco for the goal. And the Italians are on the board, 1-2, down a break.
Nice way to steady the ship, but that was a slightly quirky deep shot on the execution. Nice read from Poltok. Of course, had a big part of that senior squad back in Ireland, Steph.
Yeah, in Ireland he was excellent. I thought he was a great distributor and somewhat robbed of that spot when they made the mixed team to go to Gold Coast. He was relegated, I guess, to play open because they did put their stock in the mixed team that year. And it must have been a tough deselection at that stage after putting in so much onto the Euros team that defied all and made it to the final. Ended up with a silver medal, lost to a very strong French team. But Poltok was a big part of that. The biggest part of that team was a man called David, the businessman Barsazi. I still remember his semi in that tournament where he had 9 total stats, I believe, but a cracking game to put the Italians into the final over the Irish.
He's here on the sidelines watching along.
He is. He's he's Belgian, right? Playing for the Mooncatchers. Well, maybe not, but De Ridder and Boumalal exchange in their own end zone. And a stone cold drop. Now the Italian. Oh, they almost gave it right back. Italians. Giuliano goes over to Comirato. Big bid, but manages to keep on. Olivieri and Decran matched up. About 10 meters out, Bulgarelli goes to the middle. Comirato finds center again. Bulgarelli. Comirato leads, not quite in. Olivieri. That hits in the middle, and the Italians break to get things leveled up 2 apiece early in the contest.
Well said.
Grazzini. Sorry, with the goal, I said Fabri.
That's all right, Steph. We're still waiting for our full data pulls through to fully function, so we might get some of these names a little bit scuffed. But that one was certainly a slower, more patient break than we saw. Obviously, the Belgians, got that inside catch, smother, cover, and then immediately had the options there just by virtue of the kind of spread of players on the pitch. I like that in terms of, some holstering defense from the Belgian O-line and a really smart little find there. Hitting, as you say, because it would have been easy, perhaps if you were a little bit more excitable trying to get that break back, you know you've already conceded one, to throw into that sort of pack of players that were emerging, but to actually find that option that honestly surprised me a little bit. But a good find, well executed, and we are back on serve.
Yeah, good find, and I guess it was a good find because they were patient. You know, it's easy to get really excited after a turn. Sometimes the best thing is, I mean, obviously, but the best thing for your patience is to get those turns so close to the end zone, and it seems like less of an urgency when you don't have to go that far. When you're the whole way at the other end, it's like, okay, man, I just better bang it. When you're close, you can it's easier to take a breath and play it out, looking for sure completions as the Belgians get there first. De Ritter catches that on his cheek. As the Italians show it was in a little bit of a, yeah, they're in a zone here. I can't identify it completely as Bontemps gets the disc on the near sideline, goes to De Crana. Toby goes hammer, and hey! Had a man, was not perfectly hit on top of Takan. No, Vanek.
Yeah, Stan Vanek. I mean, could he have put both arms up for that?
Maybe. It came in hot.
Yeah.
But yes, I think had he got both up, he may well have had a shot at that.
But hey, spicy option. You kind of don't hate to see it.
No. Everybody likes a hammer. Everybody likes a hammer. Inside, and the Italians will come the other way. Corazza to Simonazzi, and back to Corazza. Tommaso Zani, and I did see that cut early. It comes to Zani in the end zone. And Zani jacks it, but he's trying to jack it against Bontemps and De Crana, and did get away with it. That is going to be equal timing grab. I will bet my life on it. Do you think that the Belgians got there first?
I do.
That is Alberto Laffi and De Crana. They're going to discuss this. We'll get a look in just a second. And not surprising, we're the most popular people in town right now. Everybody wants a look. Here it is. Laffi comes back door. Is there any clarity there that one got it first? I don't think so. We may get another look slowed down.
Yeah.
But to me, that was as so contested, and it's going back. That's a huge play by Laffi in any sense.
Oh, wow.
I think Laffi got there first.
I mean, in real time, it did look like both of the Belgians got it first.
That is a grab over Toby De Crana and Sofiane Bontemps.
I think one thing we can agree on, though, Steph, the throw was ugly.
Yeah, the throw was horrible. Here's the thrower again. Zani gets it and goes to Corazza. He says, give it back to Zani, and he does. Corazza again. Far sideline. Change of direction. Corazza, two hands once again. He's got two in the backfield. Takes Alisi and then goes to Simonazzi. These teams very well matched. The deep shot goes. Bontemps in defensive position and taken again by Laffi. That point has Laffi painted all over it. Alberto Laffi, the kid brother of Prosciutto. And that puts the Italians up 3-2. Wow, what a series of play.
Well, that one was pretty clear, wasn't it? Boy got roofed.
Yeah, that time, there's no two ways about it. Soph had position. He was in front, and Laffi came from behind and did indeed roof him.
But I mean, respect to the lad. After having the previous one go back, just
he
found
stayed
that
in front,
perfect pocket. Yeah, found that perfect pocket and just snaffled it up. Of course, one of the things we haven't mentioned is how many of these Italian players are also part of Frisbee's family dynasties.
I mean, there's so many names there that you recognize. We do have a timeout on the field, Hannah. Good time for us to take a short break. Belgium took it. We'll be right back with more action after these fine words.
We live in a world where everything can be referenced online.
Imagine if the greatest moments in our sport were never filmed. Eurodisc continues to do what it takes to make free-to-watch live streams a reality. Let's leave nothing to the imagination. We'll consume the action live, and we'll support those that help to make it happen. If it wasn't streamed, it didn't happen. Eurodisc.
What a grab! Oh my God! Somehow they do it!
(3-2) Italy over Belgium, under 24 division. Showcase match here at Tom's Tourney. We've had a wild start to this game, Hannah. It's giving me wild expectations for the next 45 minutes or so here.
Oh, yeah, you can tell. It's like they've been kept in a box for 2 weeks and they're all now absolutely raring to go.
Lander de Crane. Waiting for his brother to come, and he does. Toba. Lander's going to go deep, and those guys get the trust bomb. No, they go to Soph. Bontemps. He will be traveling to Chicago this year. Sofiane Bontemps to play with Machine. Here's Lander de Crane. Oh, and it's blocked on the point. He did want that shot to his brother. And the hand block there, sensational. We'll go back and check that one out. And for the goal, double happiness for the 69 shirt. The Italians pouring it on, the depth on this roster. Incredible. Luca Rigoni, give yourself a pat on the back. The Italians in the chat's going to be blowing up after that one.
I would also like to put a conciliatory tap on the back to Bumalal, who absolutely threw himself at the rubber crumb underneath him to try and rescue that one. But denial defense. Oh, my goodness, this Italian team are really bringing the intensity. This is just, yeah, I mean, what a recovery. But he's got your number, son.
Yeah, right now the Italians are playing like they don't care who's in front of them. They're just rip-roaring right now because there are some big stars in front of them. We said that off the top. There's some big names, some super hot players. And to be honest, right now at this stage of the game, some of the plays are against some of those biggest names where we see these young Italians, hungry, faceless mob just saying, yeah, let's just go. I don't care who they are. We're just playing ball here.
It's interesting because it kind of also demonstrates one of the themes we've seen coming out of the Italian youth development scene for quite some time, which is a lot of discipline. To actually concede that really hot, really fast break and then just to respond by going on a run of your own and doing it with things that you are truly taking stuff away. Like, that was one heck of a hand block. He's going to have a bruise in the morning.
Yeah, he won't mind.
No.
That's a pride bruise.
It's the kind of one you want.
De Ritter and the Belgians trying to steady the ship here. Scuba is a good way to steady anything. De Crane comes through the middle, and now Toba. De Crane dumps De Ritter. De Crane blades one and needs a play, gets a play. Far sideline, jacked for the end zone. He got a touch, but he did catch that in the back pocket, trapped it to the hip, and the Belgians do get away with one there. Not the tidiest goal I've ever seen, but a goal nonetheless.
Yeah, you can really see a little bit of frustration being vented there. That bladey throw was very interesting, and that was a spicy disc for sure. That honestly did completely change its path of flight in the air when they got that little touch from Laffy on it, but just enough to squeeze through.
Looks like Roba wets on the goal. And geez, that was very close. I mean, it did touch the ground as he was trapping, but I do believe he did stopped rotation. That was caught only milliseconds before it did touch the ground. 4-3, Italians with a 1-goal lead. Almost 18 minutes into this one. Wild fireworks so far, Hanny.
Indeed. And if you're a Belgian fan right now, that's just what the pet doctor ordered with vets.
The red dogs.
Indeed.
They need a little bit of medicine there. See if Coach Demarais, there's some talk in the chat, why is Don not playing? Well, he's old now. No, he's not old. But he's a bit too old for this competition now.
Yeah, he's got some time before he's up on our level, you know.
Yeah. He's got a very busy schedule, I know that as well. Raven sends the pull, and the Italians will kick things off from their own end. First throw goes. Saracco comes off and goes to Casanelli. Solmi, this kid's big. He goes back to Casanelli, back to Solmi. I remember Solmi now that I'm saying this name from Padova. Sends the big one and taken. And that looks like Ruscello, another beast from Rimini. The more I see these names, I talked about it at the top with Benji, who I think is going to win. I said I think I favor the Belgians here, but the more I think the Italians have more depth actually as I'm watching this. And it's easy to say as they get going. They've got a 2-point lead. I may be eating my words again, but geez, there's just names all over the shop, Hanny.
I mean, you're not wrong, Steph. They have a much bigger roster. I mean, when I was liaising with both teams to try and get the kind of sense of exactly what numbers folks are wearing, both teams do have their full kits. There has been a little kerfuffle for the Team Belgians. 2 players have ordered their kit in the same number, so they're going to have to do a quick reorder before Spain rolls around. But yeah, the personnel difference is quite potent, and I think is actually giving that kind of extra, fresh leg feeling. And as the game develops, even though it's 60 minutes, that will still favour the Italians just having the options to go through, roll through different strategies. We saw a little bit of a flirt with some zone. I think we might see the Belgians do a little bit of that, but it's such a calm evening, Steph. It's just about changing rhythms and changing looks. There's no sense of any weather conditions to take advantage of right now, which kind of doesn't give too much room for some of these throwing executions that we're seeing. It's definitely young person ultimate.
Well, De Ritter sends that one, or receives that one. Oh, and a huge layout required and an injury on the catch. Finger looked at immediately on the pickup, and I can understand why. Very jarring. He caught that right at turf level. Wolf Oosterlink. And that's the last thing they need. There are a couple of injuries now. They had one in the warm-up. Cedric Feller jarred his knee, so that's being looked at, and he's not playing. Staff de Kran out. Now let's see if Oosterlink comes back. Lander gives the lefty to De Ritter, then hits the middle. That one inside to Prot and Toba de Kran. Boumalal makes a move, but Lander comes all the way under. De Kran to De Kran, the brothers, and he puts the 2 feet down. Arcing pass to Ritter. Lander, De Kran, and a stoppage. I think a pick in the middle there.
It is indeed. Gun show.
Double bicep flex, the indication.
I'm really enjoying the matchups actually for the Italians. We'll talk about it at the end, but watch what they do in the reset space and who they allow to reset.
All right, I'll keep my eye on it, and you let us know when this one's done. Bontemps faked the hammer, now fakes a bit of everything, and another pick called in the melee in the middle. Bontemps fires up the line, and this one will work. Toba de Kran cuts hard out of the center, finds enough space from Paradisi, and Belgium do put another one on, back to within 1.
You can see in the body language there the real sense of relief of managing to get that one on the board. Just sort of almost like trotting to the back because Dekar knew he'd done enough and he was kind of running out of time. A little bit of a casual toe drag just to make sure. But yeah, I'm really enjoying some of the ways in which the Italians are really being intentional about who they allow to have the resets. I mean, a lot of the time you see a player like Samir Boumalal, for example, a lot of the time he's a really solid reset. He's that, that person you're looking at on like 6 or 7, and he's really struggling because his matchup, I think, has been told that like he's not allowed that reset.
Yeah, that's full shutdown.
You want to be seeing people who are damaging you upfield potentially in that space. Okay, your Decanas, your Bontemps, those are the folks that you want to be like, okay, I'll let you have that reset because
then you're not going to go upfield on me. So, yeah, good eye on that one, Hannah. I'd imagine, I know the Italian strategic and tactical deployment is very well detailed. Has been for years now. They got multiple coaches on this job. They're definitely scouting opponents, even for a showcase game, for a prep tournament this far before Worlds. Everything is business for the Italian side here. The Azzurri don't mess around.
I mean, we're T-minus 2 months. I'm sure the World Championships will roll around very soon, Steph.
Pole talk, and the Italians received the pole. Fantini had one of the first errors for the Italians before they started to really bounce back. Giacomo Rossi, not Rossi. My apologies on the pronunciation. And we've got a stoppage. Is it a pick or is it?
I think he might have swallowed a fly.
Yeah.
It literally might have.
He's hacking out something there.
It is ever so slightly damp around us. It's a very dry day, but the
Di Grazia sends across. Poltak's there. Poltak to Fantini to Poltak again. Poltak leads Ruscello. Fakes the forehand. Back inside! Landed! Takes it away. And he's good for at least one of those a game. And there's one for you. Belgium with a chance to break. Rodgisat goes big around and really needs one and gets it from Takan, who was draped by Fantini. And we got a foul called in the middle of the field. Caught just for good measure.
Tell you what, that was a beautiful fade backhand pass to find Takan.
Takan leads and gets. Inside, the Belgians continue. Now Lander. De Kraan. Fires! And hits for the goal. To the capable hands of the 11th shirt, Willems, Emil, one of the youngsters. Another Frisbee family, the Willems.
Well, really coming through in the clutch situations. That number 50.
A local boy, that Willems, who just scored that one in front of the hometown. A Bruges player, a Frisbee.
Well, and to be fair, this is a great opportunity, Steph, to actually talk about a little bit more about where we are, because we're assuming that everybody knows the amazing Tom's tournament, how long it's been going. I think I think it's as old as me.
Jeez, that's old.
It is really old. But obviously it started because of a loss of a teammate here in Bruges, of course, Frisbees.
Yep. With
2 E's and 3 Z's. We found out on both of the words.
In both words, so 4 E's and 6 Z's.
But a generational tournament. It's been, handing over from teammate to teammate. They really run a fantastic shop. If you haven't been to Tom's Tourney, there's even, a second division in the open side. So, if you're wanting to come and enjoy the atmosphere and, of course, those very famous Belgian beers.
Oh, the Bruges Zot. Oh, goodness gracious. It pours so lovingly.
It matches perfectly with Frisbee, it has to be said.
So we're getting a game here at this wonderful Tom's Tourney to be able to streaming on a Wednesday night, Hanny, up in northern Belgium. Like, who'd have thunk it? But it seems absolutely perfect, absolutely right. Local holidays have it so that it can be fit in, finish on a Saturday, and to start off with such fireworks, couldn't ask for much more. Sadako goes to center.
This is setting a very high bar for the rest of the week.
Oh. Boom, sent deep. There is company. Sadako can't get there. Knocked away by the first one there, the 81 shirt for the Belgians. And they will have a chance to take a lead for the first time since, well, I believe, the first point of the game. Far sideline. Return throw comes. It's Vets, and he stumbles but does have the disc. And we have a pick otherwise. That D was Adon Vliege. He needs that credit. There's the shot deep, looking for Toba de Crad, who rises above a pack of 3 Italians and plucks it from the sky. The Belgians take the lead 6-5. What a play in the end zone. But as I saw the number 33, I was expecting nothing but that to happen.
Benji Rees behind us just saying they got mossed. They all got mossed. Which they did, to be fair. I mean, that's kind of more what we expected. The Italians had a hot flash of absolute aerial dominance, and now the Belgians are saying, you know what, we can throw that too.
Oh, God. Fantini, that must have hurt him.
Did a shoe come off?
I think his shoe did come off. That's what's we get the crowd reaction. Belgians getting excited from the sideline all the way in.
Well, I mean, you can't ask more of a defender than that, to be fair. If you jump so hard that your shoe literally comes off your foot. But
that guy, Vliege, just walked by.
Yeah.
How is he 24? What are they feeding him around here? That kid's huge. No wonder he got up and got that D.
I mean, you don't have to be tall to be good at Ultimate in terms of, getting those blocks and winning sky battles. It does help. But certainly some of the players, especially a lot of the folks coming up these days, I still remember, back when you and I may have started our Ultimate careers, there wasn't quite so much a commitment to the athletic strength and conditioning program, the plyometric work that these young stars are putting in, which, I mean, it's just pushing the sport to higher and higher levels, and you love to see it.
Yeah, you love seeing it. Every one of the oldies of the sport likes to say, yeah, we worked hard, we did this, we did that, but watching what's happening, the evolution of the training is incredible, and it's making the evolution of the game that much more spectacular. Simonazzi. Zani got locked up in the middle in the isolation spot and couldn't get out. Laffy gives the backhand, shovels. Laffy again. Prosciutto Jr., as we heard Chopo in the chats. Gets again, doesn't leave his feet, had the confidence, even with Lander flopping, and Simonazzi just can't hang on to that one.
Yeah, that was a hard ass that was thrown behind his back. I mean, got the hand to it, had the vision, but that one just slipped out of his fingers.
Bit of a hard ass, bit of a disappointment. He knows he should have had it at the same time, and they got the gift back, though, and Simonazzi will get the possession moving after the first throw. High stall count now. Does find just barely. Lander flying through again. He's putting a lot of pressure in this point. Simonazzi. Deep throws on. Simonazzi fires. Laffy's got space. The throw hits, but they're not in yet. Dump pass. Leads. Comirato finds the corner. And 6-6. We have got a real and timed Galaxy point on our hands. Boris, the TD, sounded the buzzer right before the point. So it would finish this point +1. We've got a magical scoreline here, Hanny. Galaxy point.
I mean, this is really putting both teams to work out here. Obviously, these are all players that are, apart from, their commitments during the week to their own training amongst themselves and perhaps some, playing early season tournaments. This is as fresh as they're going to be during the course of Tom's Tourney, and they are absolutely the full reach and flexibility to have to execute that full as far as he can on that backhand for the goal. Really fantastic stuff. And I mean, it's definitely not quite the very tightly executed late stage game we saw back in 2023, where actually there was only the one break to finish the halftime, which went in favour of the Belgians. Of course, they won that one out. So many of the players out here in Bruges will remember that game. They'll remember that semi-final. And will therefore, I'm sure there'll be plenty being put into this emotionally as well as physically.
Ah, yes, that semi-final. That goal in the corner by Simone Gasperini was a questioned one at the time.
Yeah, there were a couple of discussions that went on for a while in that game.
And the Belgians field the pole and go all the way across in front of the end zone to Toba de Kran. Sauf Bonton. And they're still playing in their own end. De Ritter chips them out a little further. De Ritter bangs it, looking for Toby again. More heroics, gets up, and the easy finish because of it. The throw into the hands of Takan, or could it be Vaneka? Vaneka indeed. A couple 13s on this team. They're gonna.
There's two. The trick is Vaneka's got the hat. But that was really interesting. You look at the kind of how difficult Belgium made it for the Italians to hold that last point. And then really good discipline, kind of almost to kind of put on a little bit of a muzzle. Not muzzle, what's the word?
A leash.
A mute. Like on a musical instrument, right? You kind of just go quiet a little bit. Because he was just stood there in the end zone when they were kind of resetting the disc, very patient, very calm, just looking like, okay, let's figure out what's the right solution here. And then he just seemed to appear in the end zone with enough steps on Laffy to take half.
And with that half taken, we'll take a short break here and be back with all this wonderful action. Don't you go anywhere. Be back after this.
Here we go.
This year, London Invite is bigger than ever, with 8 teams in the Open Division, 8 teams in the Women's Division, and for the first time, a full 8-team mixed division.
With 5 World Games teams, USA, Canada, Australia, Germany, France.
As well as the Tokai Super Team, is sure to be the ultimate showcase of the best in the world.
More teams, more streams, more stars, more ultimate.
More excitement.
You're not going to want to miss London Invite 2025.
Seven 7-6, Belgium take the half, back and forth in the first half. Tie games, lead changes, everything you could ask for under the stars and moon here in lovely Bruges. They've planned for everything, even the weather this year. It's all lined up to be sunshine and blue skies, and I'm not jinxing myself because I'm so confident that the TDs have taken good care of everything, Hannah.
Well, we've seen the forecast, and when it's 2 days, 3 days ahead, generally the kind of, forecasting community pretty good on that these days. So I feel very comfortable saying it. I still remember when, obviously, this time of year, it's not always the best weather in Northern Europe.
We've had some Tom's tourneys that were a little bit tougher to endure.
But I still remember Boris van der Loek saying when they had the ice cream vendor out, there will be sunshine. And there was, but this time you're going to want that ice cream because it's going to get hot.
Fantini gets the big one in. Solmi. He's looking for Casanelli, but gets the fill. That one goes to Fabri. Fabri to Saracco. Saracco, Fantini. Now Poltak straight back to Fantini. Underneath charging Mancinelli. And again, Mancinelli, a very crafty thrower, has had very few touches thus far in this game, but another one who can really take over a game with his throws.
Yeah, brief discussion there between Gernhardt and Fantini. A little bump. Maybe a bit more physicality than the Belgians want.
Cinelli goes to Casanelli. Wanted to feed quick and waits for the Fabri fill. Fabri to Poltok. And finds for the goal, Solmi. And the Italians respond. Couple mullets on the board, 7 apiece.
Well, you could tell that one was a break because the sideline right in front of us was saying the word backhand with some gusto. So a nice little scintillating break up that far sideline. And that seemed a lot more smooth for the Italians in terms of kind of how it looked and felt, but still they're coming in hot on a lot of their undercuts. It's really just not able to gain too much. They made their way nicely to centre field, and then those couple of passes just really stretching things open. But I have to say there are points where almost because they're so explosive and trying to set off as they're throwing, it's that throw from Poltok in sort of the midsection of the play looked like if it had come out any solid more of an angle, that would have been the turf. So it's slightly risky, but I mean, they're executing it just fine. But it definitely feels like this game is not comfortable for either side. Just what we want as viewers.
Exactly what we're after. And that's where, you know, those are the kind of games where you love to be a part of. If you can take a step back for a second, like take a deep breath, and that's what you want. You want to be in these dog fights. You know, like the more you're in these fights, the more comfortable you become in these. And you know, you gotta learn how to lose before you can learn how to win. You gotta learn how to fight before you can learn how to, you know, steamroll.
And that's the concept of what U24s is for. It's about getting younger athletes who maybe are on their club side, are becoming big names, are really trying to push themselves, but actually saying, okay, well, let's take this pocket of these younger, you know, early 20s athletes, and let's really use this platform to develop them.
Here is that display of development that certainly looks polished and elite at this stage, and it'll only get shinier as they go. De Ritter takes the inside route, and Prot, a turnover comes out of his hands, and it's Simonazzi now going the other way. Corazza. Break chance for the Italians, straight back to Simonazzi. High release forehand, finds, not quite in yet. Rossi goes back, Simonazzi. Trying to get it off the line. Corazza uses whole body to stretch over that one, then pushes right away, and Toby says, no, that's a travel. You weren't set.
I wonder if he's actually might be saying that actually he caught it while his foot was on the line, of course, being out of bounds. This is what I'm kind of talking about with the amount of pace that they're putting in. But
there's that turnover.
It was great, that short route kind of, you know, verbiage you used, and then Corazza literally took the short route and smothered that one out.
So we'll stay with Corazza. It's in his hands. They're on the doorstep here.
Violation. They get a third try at the reset.
And so many of these players know each other from club as well. They're no strangers to one another. They've been playing each other for years, considering that this is a youth division. And ready to be tapped, and it is. Corazza goes all the way around, gets Zani. Simonazzi. Simonazzi falls and hits Corazza. Corazza straight back to Simonazzi. Fakes the hammer. Looks under. Nice backhand. Not quite in yet. Or he is. the delayed spike. Hey, am I in? I thought so too. But the non-response had me confused. Alisi with that goal.
Well, the body language off of Rafa Prutz, it was just like, no, I've been done. That's it. That's goal. He just looked so demoralised when that catch was made that I think that was almost what sold the Italians into believing they had actually scored that goal. But great discipline. I think what's edging it in this section of the game for the Italians is their throwing ability. I mean, that was such a beautiful low release inside, just sort of behind the calf of the mark release. And you also saw the nice flat high release forehand. It's something that I think until you really try to execute some of these throws, you don't realise the actual Yeah, okay, you might, use them when you're casually practicing with your friends or, trying to show off at the beach or something. But to execute that within a game when there's a lot of pressure on you to that degree, it's very impressive.
Yeah, you're right. I will echo what you said there. The Corazza throw, the Simonazzi fall to the ground throw,
Yeah.
the
small ones have been exceptional. It's the hucks. The hucks could use more polish.
Rigoni for the pull. Hits and Boumalal with the reception.
Another zone.
Zone D. Let's see how the Belgians deal with it. Well, they'll chuck a hammer. Oh, Giuliano bid on it, and it's going to cost him. He was awfully close. I think it was the only chance. Had he waited, they would have been in trouble similarly. But that's one way to deal with a zone. A Bontemps hammer to Decran for 60 meters. That should do it.
Yeah, Declan clearly needs to stay on the receiving side of the hammers rather than throwing side based on recent history. Nah, I'm kidding. He can do what he wants. But that was actually really impressive closing speed from the puller, sort of playing the deep in that zone. Luca Rigoni, I almost thought like he was going to take that, but just a little bit of extra positional work right at the end from Vets to just close the door. Oh, I take it back. That's not Vets, that's Viego.
Ah, yeah.
So, Steph, snowmen on the board.
Just a couple of snowmen on the board. Thank you, Hannah. I don't want to miss these regularities that I come with, but I may well have, if not for your diligence.
It just gives me nostalgia, Steph. I mean, I still remember the soundboard that someone made of their phone of many of your Stephisms. You're an icon. What can we say?
We do what we can. We do what we can. 8-all. This game has had it all. 43 minutes in, so 16 and change remaining.
I don't think we're going to make it to 15.
No, we're not going to get. Nobody's touching 15 points in this game,
unless something crazy happens.
Yes.
I mean, if you had to bet, Steph, on which side was going to, if one team was going to snuffle the rest of it, just put the pillow quietly over their opposition, who would you pick?
I said Belgium at the start, but Italy has impressed me so much in this game. I can't do that, Hannah. Like, if there's a gun to my head, I take the bullet. No, I don't. But I'm not going to answer now because the Italians are off and running. Casanelli comes under Rosi with the disc. Leads and gets Fabri. Fabri winds up and sends immediately Poltak. Oh! Off the hands. He made it. It was an odd angle, but he should have had that one. It did hit both hands.
I mean, again, it's the deeper throws that are really starting to kind of bite both sides. But also, one player, 3 defenders. I mean, the defenders weren't in great position, but the heads up from the Belgians is I think it's starting to, get clicking and humming again.
So Belgium with a chance to break right now. And the saunter up to the goal line to put it into play. First throw hits, second hits, using that line. Lander sends deep and hits again and cashes in. Prot Raven with the goal.
Oh, no.
And Belgium get a second half break and another lead change.
Well, that's how you do it then. That's how you throw a deep shot. Thank you, Lander, for giving us a little masterclass. And the train now starting to leave the station. Haven't seen that celebration for a little while. Of course, that's one of the traditional Belgian score celebrations we like to see. But that was just an absolute beauty. Pot going up with his rather lengthy frame. Another one of the taller athletes on this pitch. So nice target. But yeah, you can see. It's interesting always seeing the reactions of defenders. When the penny drops, you can see it in real time when you know, like, oh, I can't get there. Because it's all part of the matriculation, right? It's figuring out how much buffer you can give and how much you got to take away.
Some insights on the Belgian brain trust. 2 of the 3 here. Dan Desmarais, his coaching debut with this under-24 team that he featured on their last iteration. Valerio Ianni, famed for his dedication to the motion offense. And, of course, one missing, Ina Lankrit, a coach I know very dearly and well from her work with the Tokai Super Team, even though she's got a much more polished resume than that. That's just the cherry on top for all her work. Casanelli comes under. Fires and hits Ruscello. Fakes the backhand, then leads Solmi. Travel called, travel called, travel called. They're still playing. Now they've got it worked out.
Loved the WFDF hand signal for the travel call. Just feels like we're going to do the hustle. We're going down to the disco. They're sort of like rolling arms.
So it'll come back to Ruscello. And another violation, false start, or they just had not caught back up yet.
Love that Decano-Sirocco matchup.
Yeah.
Looking like an isolation for him.
Ruscello fakes the forehand, initiates and gets Mancinelli underneath to the far sideline. Ooh, Casanelli had to make a heck of a move to keep that one in Italian possession. Ruscello, Poltok. Poltok fires. Saracco the target. Decran coming. But Saracco had just enough space in the back, got up big, and ties it up again, 9-9.
Very interesting, that one. There was definitely a moment where the sideline did say and communicate the fact that Saracco had snuck off to that deep space. Again, it's about that calculation, calculated risks as a defender, and at the moment it is the offense that are winning those battles by about sort of half a meter of margin. Landa gets there, but you can just see he doesn't have enough time to really extend upwards and get the block in. So a risk that was taken and a score that was conceded. But this is a tight game, Steph, and we've only got about just over 10 minutes left to go.
Wow, we are at the pointy end indeed. It's a great time for you at home to hit that like button. Make sure you hit the bell too. You're subscribed and get all the updates. This is Ultimate in Europe with exceptional coverage, multi-cameras, commentators. These are live camera operators. The good stuff here at Tom's, bringing you the glory of European Ultimate the way it should be brought to your screens. And we're set to pull here.
But there is an intense huddle on the far side. That's, I think, it's the 2 lines, isn't it? The Italians have brought a big old squad, and so they actually, and with their big coaching side as well, having all of them here, they're able to give that extra bit of intel. Let's see if it pays any dividends.
Bumalal goes across. And has it in the corner. Toba pops and goes to De Ritter. Bonton having a good time out there. Goes to the middle. Bumalal playing in their end zone. Italians never shy to bring out a zone. The big mark of Paradisi on the disc. Bonton. They're not going with the immediate hammer to Toby this time, mostly because Toby's staying in the backfield. He had spent some time upfield there and Got to give it to this zone right now. It is doing exactly what a zone should do. Bontemps is just busted behind the deepest. Far sideline to Boumalal. De Ritter. Boumalal gets that left hand up. Pops to De Crane. Boumalal to De Crane. Fires, hits, Bontemps. Long point, high pass count here. The Belgians staying very patient. De Ritter still not even in the red zone with the disc, but approaching. High one, why not if it's going to Toby? But Zani came looking for a sniff. De Crane centers again. De Ritter. De Crane. There's the hammer. Back of the end zone is Bontemps. And hits with precision this time. Toby to Bontemps, making it 10-9. That was a marathon as far as this game has gone.
Talk about solving a puzzle from the Belgians. That was really interesting, kind of, as you say, quite a conservative, relatively quiet start to that point. I really enjoyed how then, as you say, a lot of the big playmakers were coming from the deeper spaces, not taking those other top shots. There was a moment where the kind of near side shoulder to our camera view looked a little bit like there was some opportunities to throw some overhead, something a little bit bladey, a bit bigger, to kind of gain some yards, but instead they just started pushing from behind, actually using their legs. After all that kind of, relatively static positioning beforehand, they suddenly found this little bit of energy. That's what drove them down that pitch. I mean, still a spicy option at the end. The hang time on that overhead hammer looked like it could be dicey, but of course, Sophien Bontemps has been making a name for himself ever since he exploded at that indoor tournament back in Lithuania, and has just been riding a high ever since. He really is a good time player. Like, the vibes he brings when you watch him generally tends to be pretty good. And yeah, what
it's like
a trust
it's his namesake or something. But it
not
is
nominative determinism, mate. You can't get away from it.
But the namesake for a reason, generationally speaking, or not. But crazy that point went on for so long. It was so patient. It was so well thought out. And then it still ended on a pretty high-risk throw. Sideline to sideline hammer. But was safe, was pinpoint.
It worked.
So enough space into a reliable and viable receiver. Saracco now and the Italians, they want to tie things up, running out of time. Here comes the undercharging. It's Ruscello. Fakes, then goes to Fantini. Fantini, has he overdone it? Maybe so, but it sounds like a foul's been called. And I see the accept before I saw it. So goal, Betrancourt. I like the integrity there. Says, yeah, I fouled. Yeah, I thought it was contestable, perhaps. Did you see tons of contact?
One of the things that you have to think about in a foul discussion is if somebody was responsible for bringing in more momentum than the other person, is, two kind of objects traveling at speed. I mean, the blame is the thrower, right? If that's a contested strip, a strip call, then absolutely goal stands. It did look like there was potentially, a bit of grip going on. There's contact to the arm. Maybe that's discussion. Of course, we don't have the benefit of everybody being mic'd up. What a world that would be. Some of the sound bites you'd get, I imagine, would be quite entertaining, if not sanitary for broadcast. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, players on the pitch call it a goal, and I believe that's the time cap applied, Steph.
No, that was the 5-minute warning.
5-minute warning. There we go.
So 5 minutes to go, just less, 10-10. Wow. We're right where we want to be.
We ain't making it to 15 unless this goes. Actually, no, because it would go to universe, and then it's the next point we win.
Yeah. Well, no, we could.
We could get there.
We could get a 12.
But I don't think we're going to 15.
No, we're not going to 15. I'd bet major organs on it.
Well, it's a +1 cap. That's always been the strange thing about it. Like, one of the unique and wonderful things about Ultimate is the changing format. It's different at lots of different tournaments, but sometimes the +2 caps, man, brutal.
Boumalal. He goes to De Ridder. De Ridder spins, finds. And he gets that one right back again. And Boumalal exchanging. Oh, Zani! Oh, another foul call. That was a very precarious call. He was very close. I thought it was clean at first. I will say my first look, I thought that was clean.
Oh, just off that view. But this is probably the play of the game that I've been most intrigued to see back. So I won't be surprised if it is contested. And it is. Goes back. Either way, the pressure in this game has been very, very high. Credit to both defenses.
Bontemps. De Ridder. De Crane. In the back of his end zone, gives the scoober, and that was a very dangerous, and he knew he couldn't catch it, but he bumped it, and Soph didn't make the play on it. He coulda, and another foul. That was very heads-up play by Toby, and then given up on by Soph Bontemps. He didn't think he could play it, but he could have. Simonazzi. The Italians right back on the doorstep. And a hack there.
Maybe this pressure starting to get in the heads of some of these younger gents. And a timeout being called, so hopefully cooler heads can prevail, Steph. I mean, that was really, really bizarro world stuff from the Belgians. I especially dislike the fact that obviously what worked for them in the previous zone breaking point was driving from behind, was allowing that speed and sort of vim to come through. But they had nobody stretching the deeps, nobody attacking sort of, away from the disc. And that meant the Italians could just close in and put those jaws and more pressure on.
And we'll have a quick listen in here before we may go to break ourselves.
Oh my goodness. That is unbelievable. And created the tip and made for it.
That was absolutely incredible.
I worked for a Michelin star chef making gelato in Paris. I had my own restaurant in Nicaragua and a food truck in Australia. Why wouldn't you watch me? Check out my YouTube channel.
Search for Hive Ultimate on YouTube to learn about our cutting-edge strategies and to see analysis of world-class teams. To find out what Hive can do for your team, head over to our Patreon page where you can gain access to our exclusive drills and session plans and to join our worldwide community of coaches. Get ahead of the curve with Hive Ultimate.
10-10. Time is over. It has gone in that timeout, so finish this point, +1. We've got good potential to get the universe, Hanny.
I think everybody's appetite for more of this game and perhaps some of your delicious foods that you tried, Steph, is it's been wet.
Palates are wet.
Salivating time.
Let's get to the end of this one. You'll have time to subscribe to Steph Potts Must Eat, don't worry. But right now, it's action. Simonazzi. Hammer, high stall count. Wow, he got the hands out of that one. Just what they drew up in the huddle, Hanny. or maybe a little bit of luck. Or they go and he gets the goods.
I don't know if it's necessarily what was on the board when they had that timeout. Certainly not the conservative option, but that was an almighty droplet of a hammer. The way that just literally sailed into exactly the right spot for the target. I mean, hats off to the execution. On a high stall, Simonazzi going to work, and we are going to see if the Belgians can tie it up and bring us to a universe point finish. This game deserves it, I'd say, Steph.
It does. It deserves one of your likes. This chat is going off. You guys are having a good old time out there in the chat. It seems some ridiculous nature as per normal, but mostly love in there. Keep it clean, keep it lovely.
Lots of people talking about who's the most beautiful. I'll tell you what, the Italians don't want to take it to universe. They just want to push it through and take revenge.
Luca Tognetti there, one of the many coaches. I am very pleased that he's been announced as a member, a returning player of the Tokyo Super Team this year. And he is imparting all of his wisdom on this crew of youth. They're very lucky to have it. Pingu, one of the greats of Italian Ultimate as a player, but also a great mind.
It's one of the things that you actually really love to see is there is a lot of that senior club sides, senior national sides, actually really stepping up and playing the role of coaching and inspiring the next generation of their own teammates.
So Italy can win this game right now unless Belgium can score. Belgium need to score, a must score, or the Italians win. There is the table set. De Ritter goes up line. Bontemps takes a look around. De Craan was cutting deep, and Bontemps said, let's be a bit more sure about this. I back you all day, but I'm going to go back to center here.
Love that presence of mind from Bontemps, being able to be such a mechanical athlete, such great footwork, looking at the disc, looking at around himself, looking at the line.
De Ritter, Boumalal, Lander. De Craan fires the backhand, looking for his brother, but that one gets away. Italy can steal this game if they can march it the length of the pitch.
That was a shame, Steph. That point, it looked very, very good, but it's just that, yes, it's the right person upfield, but that maybe wasn't the right shot to try and throw into such a tiny, tiny channel on such a big point.
And you see Toby kicking some bags there. I think what he's upset about is the players on the sideline too close. He couldn't make a play. He couldn't make a try for a greatest. So he's a little showed a little bit of his frustration there.
Well, it's okay, folks. For the finals of this tournament, we will have the wonderful automated robo line painter to make sure we have clear sidelines.
Giuliani, who gets that one through. That one into the hands of Grazzini. And now a stoppage. Where'd that come from?
I don't know if it came off of contact, but Paradisi on the ground. So injury call. Because an injury stoppage without contact does, I believe, mean the player does have to come off because it's a stoppage. Whereas obviously if it's injury after contact with another player, you're not required to come off. So it depends on what the call is. Looks to be though Paradisi is coming off the pitch.
That's precisely what Lander was explaining to Paradisi. Luckily they've got a great wealth of replacements. Saracco coming in, and it's Alberto Junior Prosciutto Laffi with the disc.
We're making me hungry, man. All these food references.
We're in the right place. We're in a good place. Wow, we got our fry culture around here. Italians, can they take this game? Saracco, Grazzini. From their own attacking brick mark, a foul, a travel called by Betancourt, and he's showing it again.
Oh, I love it.
Some impressive dance moves. I hope we see those at the Tom's Tourney party on Friday or Saturday night.
If you missed it, it's kind of like that pony shuffle, like you sort of like, trying to round some cattle up.
Almost Gangnam Style-esque.
Well, that'd be more the actual riding the pony,
right.
isn't it?
Almost.
We'll see you on the dance floor, folks.
Yeah, here they come back in the hands of the Italians. Olivieri goes to the far sideline. Giuliano fires back. Grazzini and, asked to move on the mark again. The foot goes up, but no contact. Sarako and De Craan goes down. It's tapped back in. And
now it's the phantom call. The phantom call of the body language, the movement. It feels like there should have been a call. Was there a call? No one's really sure.
what did he?
He messed his own ankle up. You can see that stab jab movement there. But obviously, young athlete in excellent shape, so is able to play on. But it's that impact, that ripple effect it has down the pitch. So it looks like we'll maybe get a reset.
This reset time is a great time for you to hit that like button, ladies and gentlemen. Kids of all ages, everyone in between. Whatever your identification, it's easy to hit the like button for all.
So the play will stand. Just everyone resetting themselves.
Olivieri. Stall count mounting. Nothing to look at. Goodness, that must have been 8. It's out to Giuliano. There's a call away from the throw. It's in the hands of Giuliano. And now Sarako. A grinder of a point, multiple calls. The turn already, this would be a break for the Italians. Sarako wound up, put it away. Grazzini. No round available. Olivieri comes under. Laffy sent off deep, but was well covered. And another stoppage on the field. Leading throw goes to Laffy. Laffy throws hard, but only to Giuliano. I thought it was going. And a bump on the mark. Bontemps hits Giuliano. Foul accepted. This should be back in play. And it is. Shot deep. Looking for Grazzini off the hand. And another turn. They'll have a chance. This is exactly what you want out of a Universe point. Chances for both teams. Now it's all up in the air.
Oh, Louis Betrancourt, clean enough to get the block. I mean, he's had quite the rise to the top level of Ultimate. Of course, his big claim to fame when he first came to our screens was that he'd only been playing for 6 months, comes from a football background.
Since then, he has just got better in leaps and bounds. Betrancourt.
But now, for the Belgians, that's a long point of covering some very, very hard cuts, very disciplined cuts from the back. Let's see if they've got enough in the tank to execute it.
Fired deep straight away. Too high for the first defender. Betrancourt now on the doorstep. If they can get this, we're going to Universe. Thomas de Craan sends the hammer. Hits on the slide. 11-11. A little slice of heaven. We're playing to 12, Hannah. It's all happening here in Bruges.
Oh, wow. I'm thinking of a song, Steph. Lucky, lucky, lucky. Tove should be so lucky. Lucky, I don't know about in love, but certainly on this ultimate pitch in front of us, that was quite the slide. There's going to be some serious turf burn underneath those shorts
Toby
tomorrow
bangs
morning.
that big one. Oh, even that was closer than I thought.
There have been some moments where actually there, again, there's so little wind here. Like this evening, it's very calm, it's very cool, it's very clear. There hasn't been that much abuse of height mismatches, but there are points where you think like, oh, that's a head and shoulders player above. And Belgium's getting away with it.
That is a coach's heart in their throat, watching that hammer hang and hitch that close to the ground. It's a, hey, good job. Please don't ever do that again.
I think this is the kind of difference between the Belgian side and the Italians, is that it's the mechanism of this under-24s team. For the Italian side, it's very, very disciplined. There's lots of coaching input. It's lots of very directive, that this is your job, this is your role, this is how we're going to do things. There are those bits of flirts of creativity, especially with the release points on the throws, which we love to see. But the Belgians are just more vibesy, right? They're just kind of like, you know what? I think that's going to work. The creativity is there. They're kind of like being given like a set of oils and a canvas.
Just
and their coaches have
go
maybe put a couple of guidelines, maybe some base painting down, but it's not paint by numbers.
Put a blindfold on and go.
Just feel. Don't even use a brush, man. Just get your fingers involved. Like start and smearing it across the canvas. It's a modern work of art.
Well, here we are. Universe point set to go. Bontemps sends the ball, and it's all up to this point. Fantini and the Italians kick off the possession. Casanelli puts it away. Ruscello was gone, but was covered by Betrancourt. Ruscello gets the under. Fantini, very tightly marked again. Fantini throws. Big! Bontemps comes through! There's a chance for the Belgians' first turn. De Craan, Lander with the disc. Underneath to his brother Toby. De Craan, and again, the fraternal connection. Lander waits. Keeps his eyes upfield, then pops back to brother Toby, and Solmi says, I got the 10. Did you not hear the utterance of the T in 10?
It looks like a retraction hand signal there, so that one will stand. That, folks, is why you do never face mark a dump. Never, ever, ever. Well, maybe sometimes.
Lander leads through the middle to Tobe. De Craan. Wide. Gannat. De Craan. His brother was in the corner. No, it was not Lander. This one shot to the corner. That's good. The Belgians take it away. 12-11. What a game to kick off Tom's Tourney 2025, Hannah.
What a piece. Absolute piece. Fantastic patience. I mean, Lander de Craan, nerves of absolute steel. That little sort of toss pass on 8.5, 9 maybe. Contested stall, retracted. I'm sure there will be some feelings being felt. As we already said, these two teams, many of which are returners. Last time they faced each other with their national jerseys on at the under-24 level, it was a semi-final. It was a massive game. And if they can replicate that level of intensity, that level of execution, and just in general the vibe in Spain in a couple of months, it's going to be a hell of a tournament.
Yeah, these two are both have high hopes, both medal contenders, I think, by many punters' estimations. I would say both of them going into this campaign, you know, circling the USA, circling that podium. They believe in themselves. They were so close last time. And seeing them a few months out, they look very well refined. They look very good. This is sharp play. We've talked a bit about the rise of the Europeans, and this was a magical display that really highlights what the youth of Europe are capable of and are bringing already.
I mean, the Red Dogs are definitely going to have some red sore patches tomorrow morning after the amount of throwing themselves on the turf. I do think that extra home advantage, having the crowd very much on their side in that last point, would have given that extra little bit of juice and energy. But let's listen in. But the Italians very much ones to watch.
So a wild first game from Tom's Tourney. The stars were shining both in the sky and on the field. The evening match tomorrow. Well, now that we've got your palate wet, why not tune in and cancel all your plans tomorrow, except if you've already made the sensible plan of watching Tom's Tourney all day long. Hannah, run us by the showcase pitch for tomorrow.
Well, we will be kicking things up with a Deep Space and Friends in the Open Division. They're open players from the mixed team against Rat Burn. The Italian under-24 women will be playing against Tiki Taka, so I'm sure many of our fans from today's live stream will be tuning into that one. Moon Cup versus Germany women, Hut Open versus Heidi's, BFD Sheeters versus Lilliput, Chuckwall City. I know you're excited for that one, Steph. Jinx Midnight under-24 GB's women, Flying Adelsburn and Jet Set Open. So if any of those teams sound interesting to you, i.e. probably all of them, because, why not? Feel free to tune in. We'll be bringing you all that coverage. If you want to find out the full schedule for the teams being streamed, you can go to tomstourney.be and hit the top of the page that says live.
Well, that is a great wrap-up. You guys, the first time we've had a showcase game streamed like this, first time we've had a Wednesday start to Tom's. A lot of great firsts here, and I, for one, am all for it, loving every bit of the action from today's game, and can't wait for the rest, Hanny.
Absolutely, Steph. Thank you so much to everyone that was involved in putting this one on. I'm pretty sure all the players on the pitch benefited from it, and good luck to them.
Good luck to them, and we'll see you tomorrow. For Hannah Pendlebury, for the entire ULTI.TV crew, I've been Stefan Rapazzo. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll catch you next time.
Thanks. Merci beaucoup.
Yeah, ultimate.
ULTI.TV.
Bye.